Hey everyone, welcome to Pageant Professors. I'm Nicole and we've got Pageant Resale's Rachel Henry in the studio with us today. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So tell us about the website. What drew you to the industry and how long have you guys been around?
I actually competed in the Miss America system for a number of years, and I was in college and sitting at home at my parents' house, and I started thinking, I really want to start selling some of these gowns and swimsuits and things. So I came up with the idea of creating a website specifically for pageant contestants. I wanted it to be inexpensive. I wanted it to be something where it was very niche for the girls to come to. And that's how it came about. And that was about 6 years ago. So we've been around for quite some time.
That's great. So you say inexpensive. What are the fees that are related to selling your gowns or your pageant wardrobe?
Absolutely. The initial listing fee is $6, and that's for a 6-month listing period. We wanted to do that upfront initial fee instead of taking something off of the end of your sale, because the sale should be yours. It's your clothing. You're doing a lot of the work for the sale. So I definitely just wanted to take that fee up front and then let you go on with your sale.
So is the fee per item?
Yes, the fee is a per item or a per listing.
Got it. Great. What are your proudest moments over the past 6 years or your biggest success stories?
I have 2 really great moments that I've gone through. The first was the first time that somebody actually emailed me and said, I want to list on your site. I just was overjoyed. I was 19 or 20 years old and I thought, oh, this is so great. I'm starting a business. The second one, I think, was when we relaunched the brand new website. When I saw it the first time, I cried. I was so overjoyed to see something that I had thought about for so many years and had this vision. And it came to life, and I think that was really a poignant moment for me.
Yeah, and we are such big fans of the website, and when you relaunched, it was awesome. So tell us about the new features.
Absolutely. It was one of the big things that we wanted to do was give the sellers the freedom to go on the site and list everything on their own, as they would with eBay or Amazon. We wanted them to have that ability. So we've created seller accounts where you log in, you upload your photos, put your description and pricing in, and then the item goes to us for approval. So it really puts a lot of the control in the hands of the seller. That's just one of the features. They also have a link to their own store. So it's pageantresale.com/ and the name of your account. So you can actually link to it on social media, and it brings customers right in to see your items that are for sale. So that's a great feature.
So if Pageant Professors had an account, that everything would come up that we were selling all on one page.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you can link to it on, a Twitter account and say, here are my items for sale in Pageant Resale, and it goes right to you, which really is a completely different setup from what we had in the old website.
Right. Well, that's fantastic. I think if you, find a gown that you like and that woman is your size or has your same style, that really can work to someone's advantage when they're researching on the website.
Yeah, and the other thing that it really helps is we have people who own bridal stores or pageant stores, and they sell with us.
Oh, okay.
So you can link right to their store and see everything they have in inventory and really kind of shop down to your size or your style with them.
Oh, great. So we see a lot of different photos that are on the website for the gowns and the different items that are being sold. Is there an advantage to having, say, an ad for Sherry Hill for your Sherry Hill gown, or you wearing the Sherry Hill gown? What's your advice for that?
I think we try to encourage original photos.
Yeah.
I think it's great to have a stock photo from Sherry Hill or Giovanni or Tony Bowles, because it shows a recognizable picture. It's something that a girl who has been shopping a Tony Bowles website is going to recognize that photo. However, if you're not showing the gown in its real light, it can be misleading, and I actually think it discourages buyers if they aren't seeing an original photo as well.
Got it. So we're talking about a lot of the name brands and the popular designers in pageantry. Are there certain labels that kind of keep their sell value more so than others would?
I think the well-known labels, the Sherry Hills, Giovanni's, Tony Bowles, McDougal's very popular.
Right.
So I think anything that is a recognizable pageant name obviously is going to draw more attention. But really what it comes down to is how long the item has been in your possession before you begin to sell it, and then what condition it's in.
So you're talking about condition. Yeah. How honest should you be? If there's a tear in the tulle or, a stain from your makeup, how much of that should you disclose in your description?
You want to disclose everything. The last thing you want is an unhappy buyer.
Right.
And unfortunately, we have seen that over the years, people who have just had some buyer's remorse. But as a seller, you want to be as honest as possible. Even on the inside of a dress, if there's self-tanner marks, you really want to disclose that so the person on the other end knows exactly what they're getting.
That's a great point. So can we talk about etiquette for reselling your gown? Should you dry clean it? What do you recommend?
I certainly recommend with swimsuits to dry clean them. That's just common courtesy. But with gowns,
Enough said.
with gowns, though, I think it really depends on the type of gown. There are certain gowns and materials that you can't dry clean, that you can't necessarily clean at home. So I would just be upfront and honest again. You always want to tell the person on the other end that yes, you've dry cleaned it, no, you haven't. Would they prefer that you do? Just try to work it out with them individually.
Great. We talk about swimsuits. Are there things, and I would never think to get a used swimsuit, but they're very expensive, so it makes sense. Are there any items that you really just should not resell?
I just think if something's very damaged, you really shouldn't even go that route. If you wouldn't buy it yourself, if you look at it and say, this is kind of yucky at this point, it's time to let it go or even yard sale it. But you want to sell something that's in competition condition, so it needs to be something that's presentable to a judge's panel.
And we were talking earlier about gowns that have maybe been sitting in your closet too long. Are there certain trends now that you're seeing that are popular and are being sold frequently?
I see a lot of the popular designers. I see so many McDougalls popping up. Even children's pageant McDougalls are starting to pop up. We're getting a lot of child wear, which is great. It's an expansion of what we do. But I don't necessarily think there's a particular style that I see more than others. I see such a variety, which is really fun.
Yeah. As a buyer, what particular questions should we be asking?
You definitely want to ask about the condition. Even if you see something in the short listing that's there and in the description, you want to ask about it. Ask as many questions as you can about what you're buying, especially if it's a pricey item. The last thing you want to do is just buy off of a picture and not really get all of the details.
Right.
So I would ask about any alterations, just to verify, ask if it's still the true size of the gown that was purchased and that it's tagged as. I would also ask for pictures of the tag. Sometimes there are knockoffs that kind of get through, and so if you really want it to be a Sherry Hill, you better ask for the picture of the tag. So that's something that I would certainly recommend. And then it doesn't hurt to negotiate a little on the price.
Glad that you brought up price. If I bought a gown for $1,000, how much could I reasonably, or what is your recommended price in terms of reselling it?
It really depends. I get that question so often. People ask me, what should I list for? And I think it comes down to, how long ago was that gown in season?
Right.
If it's 5 years old, let's be honest, you're probably going to have to take less than half for it, and that's just the way that the market is. But you certainly want to look at the condition. If there's something, a little tear, a little stain, and I always start everything at 75% of what I purchased it for. So if it's in fashion, this is just my personal rule, I'd start at 75% and then see if I get interest. And you can always log onto your seller account and change the price.
Got it. 25% is a great discount off of the gown.
Yeah, and as a seller, you have to expect that people will want to negotiate with you. So you'll often get emails with people offering a little bit less, and if you don't want to be offended by that, you want to expect it. So starting it a little bit high is okay, knowing you're going to negotiate.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you said, it's really important to understand the timing of when you resell your gown. I had my first pageant gown in my closet for about a year before I sold it, and I'm glad that I did because it's not necessarily in style 4 years later.
Right. Yeah, and I've had that problem too, as you and I have talked about. I have a gown that unfortunately I just waited too long because I was so attached to it and I wanted to keep it. And when I finally decided to go ahead and list it on the website, I think it was just a little bit too late. So I certainly recommend as soon as you decide that you're not going to compete in that gown or that swimsuit, get it on there and get it out of your hands.
Yeah.
You'll be better off.
I'm sure it's a beautiful gown.
It is. It's for sale.
Go on to Rachel's account. Look at this gown.
Yeah.
What are the biggest mistakes that you've seen girls make on the website?
I've seen, in particular with sellers, the biggest mistake and the biggest complaint I get are low quality pictures. You have this very expensive, beautiful item that you've competed in. I'm sure you have either pictures of yourself competing in it, or you could put it back on and take a great picture. Cell phone, quality photos just aren't going to work, and bad lighting. And so pictures are really important. And they say pictures worth 1,000 words,
exactly.
Right?
We see headshot photos that are taken. It's kind of the same thing.
It is. Yeah. I mean, you want to take a picture as if you were competing because you're competing for a buyer on the website.
That's a great tip. What is one of the biggest pieces of advice that you would give to girls that are trying to sell their wardrobe?
Take great pictures. You want to take great pictures, but you want to do your research. I think looking at pricing of where it is in the retail market, looking at our site and saying, okay, this is a comparable, fashion or a comparable design, and then pricing it accordingly. You want to write a great description. This is your sales piece. So it's as if you were talking to that person who's buying it in a store. And you want to write something that's very descriptive and very accurate for your potential buyers.
That's great. I mean, most girls wouldn't really think to, use flowery words or, size 2, worn twice. I mean,
yeah. How about
are you gonna get that?
How about won my state title in this gown, or you've received great compliments, or there's always something you can add, and it's a gown that you purchased for a reason. So maybe putting that in there is why did you buy this gown? What drew you to it? And that's kind of important as well.
Nice. So what is next for Pageant Resale? What new projects are you working on, and what can we expect?
We have some great things in the works, and over the next 2 or 3 years, I really expect the site to continue to grow and expand. We definitely want to add more features to the pageantresale.com site, but we're actually branching out, and we are starting a retail line of clothing. It's custom rhinestone accessories and apparel. It's called Sparkle Queens.
Might you have an example with you?
I think I do. This is our example of a Sparkle Queens custom shirt. It is the crown with the Miss York County Outstanding Teen title on it, and this is actually for a brand new winner of an Outstanding Teen pageant.
I love it.
Yeah, so we can do pretty much anything. The website should be up shortly, but right now we have our Facebook up, and that is facebook.com/sparklequeens.
Excellent. So could you do, say, a Pageant Professor's logo?
Absolutely.
We'll have to talk later about that.
We'll get right on it.
So how else can our viewers find you? Are you on Twitter, Facebook, obviously your website?
Yeah, Pageant Resale has been out there on the web for a long time. We have joined Twitter finally after a couple years.
We're following. We
know. This is how we got connected.
It is. How great is social media?
It's wonderful. Yeah. But we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn as well, and Sparkle Queens is out there on Facebook and Twitter. So we're getting out there and just trying to get the word out and bring more buyers and sellers to the site.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sitting down with us. It was a pleasure meeting you, and we're really excited at where the site is going.
Thank you so much for having me.
Did you know that there are some really common mistakes that girls make during the evening gown portion of their competition? Click on the link in the description below and you'll be taken to our website for a free 30-minute long training course. By the end of it, you'll learn how to avoid these common mistakes and master the evening gown portion of your competition today.